Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome for the first time if you are new. We are back to watch another episode of House of the Dragon. This is Season 2, Episode 5. It is called Regent. Last episode was a doozy. We unfortunately lost both Meleys and the Queen Who Never Was, Rhaenys, both in that tragic fight over, what was the Rook's Rest is what it was called. Was essentially a trap for them. They fell right into it, got essentially 2v1'd by Aemond and Aegon, and the king ended up actually pretty hurt at the end of the episode, so I'm very curious to see what happens with him. Does Aemond essentially become like the de facto ruler at this point, or does it go to his mom? I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. But before we do see what happens, a little house cleaning. If you end up enjoying this reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me. If you're new here, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider either supporting me on Patreon or joining YouTube memberships. You just sync up your own copy of the show and you can watch along with me. But other than that, let's jump into another episode of House of the Dragon. Does he know already? I assume he knows. That's family that's dying. You know? This isn't just like a well-known general or anything. That's like someone they were close with. Damn, these peasants are getting like nothing.
The traitor dragon Meleys, slain at Brook's Rest by your king.
Damn.
They're
parading the dragon through the streets. That is not smart. Like, this is your symbol of superiority, is dragons. Like,
this is a black omen.
parading the fact that dragons can be killed does not seem like the best idea to maintain your reign of superiority.
It's an abomination.
Don't they realize we won the battle?
That's not what this is showing. They're realizing dragons and Targaryens aren't as unbeatable as they once thought.
I thought the dragons was gods.
Slain at Brook's Rest by your king.
And yet,
it's just me.
and those guys are still hanging there. Just compounding the reasons why the common people will turn on the Targaryens. She knows he had a part to play because he has the dagger now. Just carry him in on a tarp. I want to see him. I want to see the pain and devastation that hath been wrought upon his body. Oh, it's like melted onto his body. That's gross. Oh. It smells awful, apparently. Oh. Is that his kneecap? His kneecap's just gone? Ugh.
Someone will have to rule in his stead.
Probably the queen. Although she recently just lost someone as well, so Aemond it is.
And Aemond? What was his part in this?
I could not say.
You could, if you wanted to.
We still have no ground army but the one we hope that Daemon will raise. He who has left us after some marital spat.
My man, you need to watch your mouth.
My loyalty to you is proven, my queen.
And yet you say shit constantly.
It is merely that the gentler sex, heretofore, has not been much privy to the strategies of battle or their execution.
He says you're a girl, so you're not good at stuff.
There has been peace in our lifetime. You've seen no more battles than I have.
You're damn right.
If we can strike King's Landing before their dragon is recovered...
Then I myself must do it.
My queen, you are the crown. It's out of the question.
You guys keep making decisions for her.
I can sit still no longer. I must act.
Go north.
The Freys. They control the crossing at the Twins. Cregan Stark's greybeards are marching south. If his men had a direct route into the Riverlands, we would not have to wait for Daemon to act.
That'd be smart.
She will not like it.
Then don't tell her. Not until on the way.
Not telling the queen important information doesn't seem like the smartest idea.
The hour is late, and my dragon is hungry. You have no choice but to submit. Our terms are simple, Lord Bracken. Renounce the false King Aegon as a usurper. And bend the knee to me.
He
Or
just
your
seems
house
annoyed that
burn.
he has to be doing this.
We choose fire.
Oh, brother, you're getting fire right now. Or not.
I did not think they would be so eager to die.
They are pig-headed, intransigent.
They would rather burn than...
Intransigent. That's a fun word.
Exactly the kind of men I need. There are things the crown itself must not be seen to do. Show them your worst.
I am your servant, your grace.
You're dang skippy.
Many and more armies have broken themselves against my bloody gate.
Is this the Vale?
You promised the Queen Rhaenyra 15,000 swords.
In return for protection, a dragon.
She got you a dragon.
Then she has exceeded your terms. She sent 2.
Both still wet from the egg.
Well, you didn't ask for a full-grown dragon. You asked for a dragon.
I do not recall you specifying the size of the beast in your request.
Well, you goad me, child.
The path I walk has never been trod.
Kristen Cole made a mistake.
How?
Parading a dragon's head through the streets
Exactly,
like a prize
yes.
of war. But the people see an ill omen.
It's a bad move.
They are afraid. Bread is scarce.
But will whispers tear down stone? Or break shields?
Do not underestimate your subjects. They are 1,000 living in the shadow of the Red Keep and forgotten for too long. To the discontented, rumors are feed.
Hell yeah. Whoever can kill the queen
Your Grace,
and her traitorous son gets free bread for a year.
there is more than one way to fight a war.
Secrets.
Did you give this to your grandsire?
What is it?
I do not wish to stand alone.
Is that evidence of their son being alive? Is that a request for him to join? Who is this lady?
Daemon, you were always the strong one.
The finest swordsman.
Who are you? Spooky.
Viserys was unsuited for the crown. But you, Daemon, you were made to wear it.
Who is this lady? Is this Rhaenyra's mom?
If only you'd been born first. My favorite son.
Oh, that's his mom? What the?
Is the duck not to your liking, Your Grace?
Yo, that's... that's messed up.
Is there any gold left in your coffers?
Enough to keep this small establishment, you see, fed and warm. Relatively.
Not much else.
I shall guarantee the payment myself.
How?
Very well, Your Grace.
You should address me as my king.
Okay.
For the prince.
What would you call the husband of the queen?
Well, the king.
There it is, then.
Consort.
That last bit seems unnecessary, don't you think?
Daemon, Daemon, Daemon.
A king cannot rule in his sleep. Now we must name a regent to take his place. Until he recovers. Or does not.
A wise strategy, Your Grace. The regency will assure the people of the stability of the crown.
Who are we gonna name, though?
I myself served in this role with my husband. I am well prepared to do it again.
You played your part admirably in a time of peace, Your Grace, but
just like
circumstances have
Rhaenyra's council, they believe this sort of thing is not for women.
The obvious choice is his immediate successor, Prince Aemon.
Agreed.
Aemond is young. And his lack of restraint has already cost us dearly.
They don't care. He's a guy.
I am no stranger to rule or to sitting at this council. Aemond is a fearsome dragon rider. His skill is best employed in the field, but my experience is needed here, at this table.
No offense was meant, Your Grace, but at a time when we must show strength.
Lord Larys.
He's going to choose
It
Aemond.
must be Prince Aemond.
Damn.
What would it say if in response to
Sidelined.
his crowning we raised up a woman of our own?
Yikes.
Aemond is the next in line. It must be him.
Oof. All those years of service mean nothing. Just because you're a girl.
What is our standing in the Riverlands? The banners of House Tully are in disarray.
She's zoning out.
It's an encouragement. What else?
We might turn our attention to...
Is she gonna freak out?
So forth. What are your tasks?
I don't think she agrees with anything they just said.
Someone cut down the fucking rat catchers.
The city's safe no longer. There is no food.
You guys gotta leave.
Stay and wait for his empty promises, husband. With them you can feed the mouths of ghosts.
Damn. She says, we're dipping. Oh, the puppy dog. That poor dog's just gonna follow that body everywhere.
Has your loyalty faded, or does it flourish only at night and flee the sunrise like a moth?
Damn.
We have given the war to the dragons. The dragon rider should lead us.
Yeah. She wants better for
So
them.
you cast me aside.
But
Have I not spared you? What we must do now is terrible. Will you preside over it? Is this who you are, Alison?
she doesn't even want to preside over it. She has doubts about the whole thing. together. Can he fight his way through?
You fear a dragon, leagues away, when mine own sits outside your walls.
Not as big, though.
Do you offer us your protection?
I do. What do you want?
They want a dragon.
Larys Strong has been relieved of his castle. Does the Queen intend to raise up a new lord?
You want Harrenhal?
That is a big reward. Your son can have it. Or your daughter.
For that, my mother will want more than your crossing.
What does her grace desire?
An army.
Bent knees.
She'd be doing spooky things to him.
I hear strange things from Brackenland, from Stonehenge, and Lambswold, and Moray.
There's news then.
News?
She's got hella news, always.
No.
She just hears strange things.
That fool Aegon is unlike to survive.
Yeah.
The realm will suffer if Daemon One-Eye rules. You should pray you never meet him. He will cut you down soon as wish you good day.
I'd heard the same thing about you.
Debatable.
Well, I'll cross you no further. I'm sure your tactics are, after all, approved by the Queen.
The people who support her will not be led by her. They look to a man for strength. Who's better suited to it? The High Towers with their scheming, or Viserys' first true heir? When I take King's Landing, Rhaenyra is welcome to join me there and take her place by my side. King and Queen, ruling together.
And if you
Then I'll be dead, and none of this will be my problem.
It's a pity, don't you think, that you never knew your mother?
She's like, how do you know I've been dreaming about my mom?
The Blackwoods have overwhelmed the Brackens, and Lord Amos has pledged his banner to you. House Bracken is yours.
Okay.
Queen Rhaenyra wishes to name you Hand.
Even the death of my wife does not content her.
Brother, if you only knew...
I should not ask enough of my house.
She didn't kill your
It is
son.
a sign of her great esteem. Pledge your peace to King's Landing, then. They will accept it most gleefully.
Facts.
Rather, I would sail into the west and be lost.
You have done so before, at great cost to yourself and those who loved you. Rhaenys was not
You
only
still have
your
family.
wife, not a thing to be taken from you. She was a Targaryen princess. And she flew to Rook's Rest of her own will, in defense of her kin.
And she died.
She died as she would have wished to die, with honor, in Dragonfire.
Yeah. Facts.
I grieve my grandmother who loved me, but I carry her on with me.
She's not gone until you're gone.
You yourself may do as you see fit.
Granddaughter.
She got him in his right mind.
I would make you my heir.
Damn right.
I am blood and fire. Driftmark must pass to salt and sea.
Damn.
I wish you to go to Harrenhal.
Are you removing me from your council?
In a way.
You and your house served my father well.
You'll have a
And I
spot
know
when you come
will
back.
Never accept the Hightower claim. We cannot challenge King's Landing without the Riverlands, but I will not send a message by Raven for Daemon to disregard.
Have you any message for him?
Tell him I would much like to finish our last conversation.
Okay, yeah.
Your Grace. The River Lords have come, Your Grace. They wish an audience.
Is there some reason you feel free to wake a king in his bed? Or shall I now begin your education?
House Bracken have been brought to heel at the hands of Willem Blackwood.
Yes, okay.
The sacred septs on Bracken lands were looted and burned.
As were the fields and farms. The livestock was stolen, and our peasants put to the sword.
They pursued the women and the children. There were works of barbarity.
Blackwoods have exploited the war for the crown to visit atrocities upon
I
their
have
old
seen my fair
rivals.
share-
These beasts proudly carried the banner of House Targaryen. Red dragon on black.
Oof. That's not good.
We should have expected nothing more from a man who ordered the slaughter of a child in his mother's arms.
Oh, brother, you shouldn't be saying those things.
That is a lie, and I will have the man who told it brought before me.
Oh, your man is half the kingdom, my prince.
Know this, interloper. The Riverlands are an ancient place, watched closely by the eyes of old gods and new. And dragon or no, we shall not raise our banners for a tyrant.
Damn, Daemon, you screwed up, brother. You may have won House Bracken and Blackwood, but you lost the rest of the Riverlands. Oh, the parallels there between the two of them. What a shot. Who's gonna answer the door? Oh, young Shotty. What up, girl? Is he gonna take the position? The throne.
Was it worth the price?
Oh, he's alive. I mean, like, somewhat conscious, I mean.
I'm proud of you, Jace. You've done our cause a great service.
Then why do you look angry?
It's just her general mood nowadays.
You chafed at being prevented from action. Imagine, my lord, I'm a dragon rider as well, with a war being fought over my ascension. And yet I must wait here, sending others to fight and be felled in my name. Even you've managed to do your part.
You are the queen.
Yeah.
The tie that binds us.
She wants to be a
No harm can
warrior
come.
And you're
queen.
my son, and I did not give you leave to go.
Not a queen that just has others do everything.
Vhagar is big, but Syrax is quicker.
So was Meleys.
Meleys fought 2 dragons and one of them is slain.
Yeah?
Shall I fight for my birthright, or shall I wait here until we are all destroyed?
Sometimes you gotta fight.
I need dragons.
You need dragon riders.
We have no dearth of dragons. We have 2 large enough to stand against Vhagar. They are called Vermithor and Silverwing. And they sleep just beneath our feet.
Well, then we gotta find some other people.
There are those of our line who never ruled. Those who married into other noble houses. Their children born with other names.
blood would be thin.
And yet?
It's still there.
The dragon will only accept a dragon lord to ride it. Also say the histories.
Valyrian histories. Written to gild us in glory.
Are you suggesting we put a Malister on a dragon?
Have a bunch of people try.
There are records here, surely, of our line, and of those who fell out of it.
You're in a library, heck yeah. Let's get to reading.
There could be scores of them.
It's a mad sword.
Let's do it. I thought there was another scene coming. All right, episode 5 of House of the Dragon in the books. Very, very exciting. Well, not like a terribly exciting episode, but like there are things that happen in this episode that spell like either signs for excitement to come or signs for like dread to come, right? So, I mean, like right off the bat, we're obviously reeling from the battle of last episode. Both sides are reeling. We have Rhaenyra and her council just like not getting along. You know, what's his face that she sends away later, just disrespect constantly. Like he lets her know, like, I'm not gonna quit, like I'm not gonna join the other team ever. But she's like, yeah, you may not be willing to betray me, but like you talk shit about me constantly in the council. Like, I'm the queen. I'm in charge. She's telling the White Worm later, she's like, they just talk around me. They don't talk as if I'm actually there. Like, because she's a woman, they deem her like inconsequential in the current stuff they're doing, right? They're making war. They don't believe that is, you know, part of what a woman should be involved in, right? They're like, this is a man's duty. A man makes war. So why would we really regard what you have to say? And she's like, excuse me, we've all lived in a time of peace. Like, I've seen just as many battles as you have. Like, what are you talking about? And it's right. She's right. Like, they need to actually start involving her in these things, but I think she could do maybe a little bit to maybe research some wars, maybe work on a little hand-to-hand combat here and there. I don't know. She's not perfect by any means, and she could do a little bit of work to get involved. But I think she also recognizes that she needs smart people involved, and part of that is her trying to make Corlys hand of the queen. She just lost Rhaenys, who was like the smart, like her biggest ally in that group, and a smart individual for sure. And now she is kind of alone in that group, so she needs Corlys. Corlys is devastated. He's just like wandering, and his granddaughter comes and is like, hey, essentially like, pull your head out of the sand. Like, you can be sad all you want, but Rhaenys wanted Rhaenyra to be on the throne. Like, she was actively fighting for that to happen. She chose to do all this. And if everything you've been doing for the last like 40 years has been about her anyway, like, why not work to make her dream reality? Like, let's get this done. Stop moping. and I think he's like, okay. Like, he wants vengeance, and he wants a purpose right now. Like, he's just wandering. And I think part of that is going to be becoming the hand of the queen, and I am excited to see what he brings to the table. We also had Jace. He's getting restless. You know, he's like, I am sick of waiting around doing nothing. So he flies to the twins to get the Freys on their side, and the Freys, we hate the Freys. The Freys suck. Right? I mean, the current day Freys may not be bad, but I'm obviously thinking to the future of Walder Frey when he betrays the Starks. The current Freys might be chill, but yeah, they want some compensation to bend the knee. And yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they have a very valuable river crossing that can be super important in regards to war, regards to all these different things. So it's like, you know, they're in the perfect position to play kind of neutrality and then just demand compensation from whoever wants to use their trade routes and their army crossing and all these things. So yeah, I mean, they want Harrenhal. I can't remember if they get Harrenhal. I don't quite remember who is in Harrenhal in the future. I know at one point the Lannisters and who's the House of the Flayed Man? I forgot the name. The Boltons. I know at one point the Boltons have it and the Lannisters are in there. That's like season 3, 4 of Game of Thrones that they're in there. But I don't remember who holds it in the meantime. I know that Daemon is tripping. They're constant. Like the man he has some interesting dreams for sure. He had a dream where he was making love to his own mother, which is wild. For a second I was like, I thought maybe it was like a young version of Viserys's wife, like Rhaenyra's mother, but then she's like, my favorite son, and I was like, excuse me? Like, this man is having like very visceral dreams of like sleeping with his own mother, and it's like, this is Targaryen stuff to its core, honestly. It's just wild stuff, and I don't know how much of his dreams are like his own inner thoughts and desires, or like how much of it is Alice Rivers or whatever, Strong Rivers, whatever her last name is, the witch, how much of it is her putting this on him and like putting these dreams in his head, or how much of it is just Harrenhal being haunted in itself. Like, there's lots of spooky things happening, and he is tripping balls constantly in this castle. He's trying to like rebuild it, chop wood, and he's hearing the screams of women, and it's just rough. Alice knows that he's having dreams of his mother. Like, she's saying things, so she knows stuff. And he seems to be screwing things up, honestly. Like, his own ambitions are getting ahead of him, and I think he's messing stuff up, right? Like, he fully intends to go against King's Landing. Like, I think at this point he is abandoned, like fully abandoned Rhaenyra's cause. And he's not raising these armies up for himself, or for her. He's raising them up for himself, so that he can take King's Landing and just become king. And if she wants to join him, then sure, they can be rulers together. But like, if she doesn't want to join him, he'll gladly just be like, I'm the king. And the way he's going about it is reckless, right? Like, he needs the Blackwoods and the Brackens like on his side to build up an army. He also generally needs the rest of the Riverlands as well. And in his attempt to get the Brackens and Blackwoods, he's like, yeah, do whatever you need to do. Like, everyone has weak points. And that turns into the Blackwoods, raping and pillaging and, committing atrocities across the Riverlands while holding the Targaryen flag. And the rest of the Riverlands are like, hey, what the F? Like, they confront Daemon and they're like, we will never bend the knee to your cause now because of what you just did. And it's like, brother, you effed up. Like, he simultaneously lost the Riverlands for himself, but then also lost the Riverlands for Rhaenyra's cause. Like, she can't rely on them anymore because of everything Daemon just did. And it's like, she's gonna need the Starks a lot. Like, she's gonna need them real bad. So who knows? It's a lot of stuff going on. But she comes up with a plan. Well, she doesn't come up with a plan. Jace kind of comes up with a plan where they're like, we're not wanting for dragons. We have hella dragons. We need people to ride the dragons. And, there's plenty of offshoots of our house. You know, people who might have hints and traces of blood, of Targaryen, Valyrian blood in them, that we can get to ride dragons, right? Like, that's the part of the whole Targaryen incest thing. Like, they don't just have incest for fun. Like, I think some people, that aspect of it may be lost on them. I know watching Heroes Reforged, they're watching House of the Dragon, and they're not real big fans of the incest part of it. And they're like, why do the Targaryens keep having incest? And it's like, well, a key reason for it is to control the dragons, right? The biggest, baddest nuclear weapons of Westeros. They need to control them, and the story is, and we don't know if it's necessarily true or not, but the story is the dragons will only bend their heads to those who have Valyrian blood, right? It's part of this like dragon propaganda, is, you know, which it props up the Targaryens as like these godlike figures, is that you have to have a certain blood for the dragons to, you know, obey you. And in order to keep that bloodline going through these rulers over the ages, the most effective way to do that is just to marry to your own family, right? So it's not just incest for fun. Like, it's a strategic incest. Doesn't make it any less gross, but it's still, there's a reason behind it. But yeah, Jace's plan is to, Jace and Rhaenyra's plan is to kind of be like, hey, we can search for people that may have Targaryen blood in them, and we can get them to be dragon riders. And we've already met potentially one of them. That was, what's his face? That was in the bar. The one that was like talking himself up, being like, I'm the, you know, bastard son of Jaehaerys, or whatever he said. Or the bastard son of Jaehaerys' brother. One of the, he was talking up his Targaryen ancestry. I imagine he might be one of the people they choose. I've heard there's like one or two others. They've been talking about what's his face? Alan and Adam aren't, I believe it's, as from what we've been led to believe, based on a couple scenes here and there, especially last episode before Rhaenys went to die, from what I'm catching the vibe on, I think at least Alan, maybe Adam, are bastards of Corlys, and Corlys has that Valyrian blood running through him, so like potentially those two could be dragon riders as well. Who else? They've been focusing a lot on that Hugh guy, Hugh Hammer, and he looks like he would be like a big beefy warrior guy. You know, he's like a carpenter, or like he builds stuff for the king right now. He seems like a dude that would be like, yeah, I can ride a dragon. Like, I don't know. He's trying to get out of the friggin' kingdom, first of all. Like, he's got to figure that out. But otherwise, who else could be a dragon rider? Those are the only ones that I can think of initially. But I feel like there's more out there that could be dragon riders. And we're going to need them. We're going to need them for sure. But yeah, that is all like Rhaenyra's side of the situation. The King's Landing side of the situation is very interesting because they start things off by parading Meleys's head through the streets. And it's like, they think that it's going to be like this like triumphant, like, we're winning the war type thing. And everyone in the city is like, an abomination. Like, this is sick. Like, how are they doing this? Like, it went the opposite way of what they wanted. Because, one, I think the small folk are generally on Rhaenyra's side. You know, Aegon has done enough to turn the regular people away from them. by, you know, not feeding them, by, you know, doing all these horrible things to them, by hanging the rat catchers. Like, all these different things have generally turned the regular population against the current leadership. And so they're probably like, you know, this is sick, like parading the head of a dragon of someone we love through the streets. That sucks. But that's the short term. Like, that's what they are seeing in the short term. In the long term, I think that was such a stupid move. And I think history tells us in the Game of Thrones universe that that was such a dumb move. Because up to this point, you know, the small folk, the people of the realm, have seen the Targaryens as gods, as the rightful rulers. You know, if a Targaryen wants to be on the throne, they're the ones that get the throne because they're the rightful rulers. They can control dragons. And they see the dragons as these mythical beings. But with Team Green parading Meleys's head through the streets, they're showing not only are dragons killable, right? The dragons are not these god-like beings and figures that we may have previously thought. It's just meat, like Hugh Hammer says. They're just meat. They can be killed. And when you say that about the dragons, that also translates to the Targaryens, because the Targaryens are special because they control dragons. If dragons can be killed, that means Targaryens can be killed. And then that takes the shine off of Targaryens in general, and they become just regular people. And in the long term, that is not a smart move. If you are building your entire legacy and personality and image off the fact that, like, you are the rightful people to be on this throne and the rightful rulers of the realm because of your name, because of your blood, and you are actively showing these people that those things don't really matter, the people will turn against you. You know, it is only a matter of time before the small folk revolt against you because they no longer believe in your deity. Like, it's just such a stupid mistake for them to have made. Like, and I don't know if this was Kristen Cole's decision or if this was Aemon's decision or whose decision it was, but it was not smart. Like, this is essentially what causes, that's tough. You know, this whole story of House of the Dragon is in itself showing us how all the dragons died and the Targaryens eventually lose power to what the Baratheons become kings at one point. Showing us how they're losing the trust of the people, losing power in the realm. The dragons are all dying. Like, how did we go from hundreds of dragons to, no dragons at all for hundreds of years? And that's what this story is telling us, both in terms of the literal big events, but then also just the small things of the people turning against them. Like, it makes it so much more believable that we go from this place of all of the dragons being alive and the Targaryens having them to, no one has a dragon. And it's like a baffling and amazing when Daenerys has dragons. So yeah, they screwed up by parading Meleys's head through there. And then they also brought the king in this box, and oh my god, his body, the armor, the fireproof armor is literally like, the armor itself is fine, but on the underside it got so hot that it superheated to his body. And they're peeling this armor off of him, and it's just his whole body's charred, his leg is broken, he's barely alive. And Alicent knows that Aemon had something to do with it because he has the dagger. She's like, I know. And she's asking, Kristen Cole, what part did he have to play in this? What happened, essentially? And then they're in a council meeting, and they have to choose a new ruler, essentially, because Aegon can't be king right now. He's barely alive. He might not live at all. So in the meantime, they need to choose someone to be in charge. And Alicent is like, hey, I was essentially the ruler of this realm for how many years while my husband was sick? Like, I know how to do this, and I know how to do it effectively, and I know how to do it well. You'd be stupid not to choose her. And the men of the council are like, no, you're a woman. It's just so ironic that Alicent, she can do it well. She knows how to do it, and she puts so much effort into making this situation and this reality happen. Like, the only reason we're in this spot in the first place is because Alicent is an effective ruler. Like, she knows what she's doing. And she put all this work into making it happen just for them to throw her aside because she is a woman. It's just, oh my god. She's like, are you kidding me? She's like, Aemond is too young to rule. Like, I think even though he looks like he's like mid-20s or whatever, I think in the context of the story, he's only like 17 or something like that. She's like, you know, he's a good warrior, but we need someone to rule. Like, yeah, he is most useful out on the field, like being a warrior. I am useful here. Like, I know what I'm doing. And they're like, no. How bad would it look if, like, we're fighting against Rhaenyra because she's a girl? Like, they need to remember that. The whole reason they're fighting against Rhaenyra is because, like, you know, they're like, she's a girl. Her claim is not true because she is a woman. It would look bad if they essentially then were like, hey, you know how we reject that one woman, we're also then putting this woman in charge here for the time being. From their side, it is a decent bit of misogyny, for sure, of them just like not trusting Alicent in general because she's a woman. But then logistically, it would look super hypocritical if they put Alicent as regent while actively fighting against Rhaenyra. Like, it makes sense that they would reject her, but like at the same time, come on guys. She knows what she's doing. And so they put Aemond in charge, and he's now the Prince Regent, and he immediately gets to work. He's like, all right, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Alicent is like kind of like zoning out and hyperventilating at the same time because she's like, how did I get in this situation? And Aemond is just getting to work. He is not going to be the king that just sits by and lets the advisors make the decisions. He's like, I'm making these decisions because I'm the king right now. And it's dangerous because he's a dangerous person. And he's a little bit of a hot-headed person who wants revenge and wants all these things and can be a bit cruel. And it is, yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. And I'm curious to see what's gonna happen there. But yeah, then Alicent is like, talks to Colin. She's like, what? Like, why did you not back me up? Does your loyalty only come into play? Like, do you only remember your loyalty in the bedroom, like at night? And it's a pretty cutting line because what started as her essentially saving his life, like he was gonna kill himself. In the Godswood, she saved his life and gave him a purpose and gave him something to fight for. You know, if he's not going to have loyalty to Rhaenyra anymore, he might as well have loyalty to her. And he became her sworn protector, and his loyalty essentially was only to her. And now she's like, it seems like you've forgotten that, and you only remember when you want to fuck me. And he's like, he's basically like, going through PTSD, essentially being like, we've given this war to the dragons. Like, once he saw dragon fighting and how even just being in the general area of these dragons, you know, going to battle is detrimental to these men. Like, they're getting torched. And they're just bones on fire, right? Like, they play no real part once the fight starts, and they're actively just like second thoughts, right? He's like, we've given the war to the dragons. Like, if we're gonna rely on them, we need to have a dragon rider in charge, and it's just it's a lot. It's a lot. And next week, I'm curious what's gonna happen next week. Yeah, we are over halfway through the season now, so I imagine things are really gonna start picking up, or not necessarily picking up in terms of like danger and action, but in terms of like emotional intensity, in terms of, you know, gravity of the decision making, things like that. And I'm very excited to see where it takes us. But those are just my opinions. Definitely let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. I'm very curious to see how you guys feel. Otherwise, if you enjoyed my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me. If you're new here, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload, especially if you want to see me react to the rest of the season of House of the Dragon. And then if you're interested in seeing the full uncut version of this reaction, consider either supporting me on Patreon or joining YouTube memberships. You just sync up your own copy of the episode and you can watch along with me. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.